Hello everyone, welcome to the first video on this channel. Well, first video that's actually about proper gameplay and not memes. So this is the LaGG-3-4, and from what I can see it is the rarest playable vehicle in the entire game. This was available to volunteers for Gaijin back in the really early stages of War Thunder, before it was playable to the general public and even beta testers. And the only people that really have the LaGG-3-4 are developers and mods, but a few other people have it here and there for little things they've done. So basically speaking, this is your standard LaGG aircraft with the normal engine, the normal Schwack and the normal 50 cal, but it does have two additional 30 cals in the nose on either side of the engine cowling. And it doesn't really seem like much, but it does pack a punch and make the aircraft a bit heavier, and this means that it reaches higher speed in the dive a lot quicker than with other aircraft. Not by a huge margin, comparatively to the other LaGGs, but it is noticeable. And the other thing I found that it's really useful for is, noticeably with all the other LaGG aircraft, you have two guns, you have the 50 and the 20 in the nose, and these do run out of ammo quite quickly if you're fighting a lot of enemies, but the two extra guns mean that if you do happen to run out of ammo with the two main guns, you can use the secondary 30 cals to finish off any more enemies you're faced with. And as this aircraft is battle rating 2.3, you can see, late biplanes and weaker aircraft that really do take a lot of damage from those 30 calibers. Now, one other thing I realised while planning to do this is I'm not very good at talking generally, or filling dead air like climbing here. So what I thought would be nice, and a nice way to engage with the viewers and the community, is if I answered questions in this time here, while I'm flying AFK to get to altitude in the plane. So the first test question is from a good friend of mine, Chilliwiggles, who also helped me create some of the UI for the channel and things you'll see at the end here. And his question is the premium LaGG-3-4 a good starter aircraft to buy? And I think it definitely is. It's a very capable plane, and it does have a very powerful 37mm cannon. I think it's the same one that the Yak-9T gets, and it does teach players to conserve ammunition, because it does get, I think, about 12 rounds, and that is quite a good lesson to learn, especially for most of the aircraft in the game. Not all of them have a lot of ammunition, and if you learn from an early stage to use the little that you have to maximum effect, it's really going to help you along the line. So I think it's a fantastic aircraft to play off the bat. You can do damage to bombers, you can knock out fighters in a single hit, and if you want to play tanks and ground forces, you can also use it to set things on fire with the AP belts, which is great. There's not many attackers at low altitude that also work as a fighter, so I think it's a fantastic option. It is a gift pack, and I think you do get Eagles and premium time with it as well for about €10, I think. So I think it's a great addition, and I really recommend anyone to buy it if they're looking for a pack premium to buy off the bat for Russia that can do a lot of things and teach you to conserve ammunition. And yeah, I think it's a really suitable aircraft to buy. Now this is where the combat starts to a degree. Mainly in a plane like this, you need altitude and speed to make it work, because at cruising climbing altitude you're only going to be scoring about 300 kilometers. Now I don't use indicated airspeed, excuse me. I just played the game for so long without using it, and I tried putting it on, but it confused me and my tiny brain can't work it out. So I don't have the correct measurements for speed on, so please bear that in mind. But I see the 109 high, and I think that there's no way I can fight that up here. I'm too slow, I don't have energy. I'm going to need to wait for him to engage some of the fighters on the lower altitudes for me to come back and use this aircraft effectively, because with the extra weight in the nose, it doesn't turn as well as the other LaGGs. Not by a huge margin, but it is noticeable, and you really need to use this as a boom and zoom fighter that can turn sometimes, depending on the speed you've got or the plane you're fighting. So I'm keeping an eye on the fighters going down now. A 202 and the 109s I can't fight with reliably in the turn. If I'm a bit quick enough, I could give it a go, but it's not the best way to fly it, and it's not the way I'd feel most comfortable flying it. So I'm going to fly back around now and just pick targets of opportunity. I like to fight the highest plane in the battlefield at any time and work my way down. So most fighters, it seems to work out that way, and it's easier to combat aircraft that are a lot lower than you than ones on the same altitude. So putting this into a shallow dive, you can see the speed building up quite nicely. And this is only a shallow dive. You put it quite steep, it gains speed very quickly, and it can put you terminal and redline if you're not careful. So try and get a shallow angle firing solution on this one, but he's diving a bit too quick, and it's not an angle I feel I can follow and aim well in, so I'm going to pull up and pick another target. Now, something a bit easier would probably be that 200 down there. So he seems a bit low on energy, and he's not as aware of me as the 109. He's just dived away from me. So I'm going to pick up a firing solution on him and cut my throttle to make sure I don't overspeed, because going so steep down, it's going to be difficult to pull up. So I wait until I can get close enough, and not too impressed with my aim here, but I do manage to knock him out quite quickly. I run full stealth on most of my planes just because that tiny element of surprise you get when they don't realise you're firing is usually the kill shot, and that's what I like to go with most reliably. So I'm going to stay up for a while and maintain and see if I can catch that 109, but he's dipping in and out of the clouds, which is a bit tricky. But I want to help the I-16 because, well, you know, an I-16 can't keep up with a 109 if he knows what he's doing, and this guy certainly does. So I'm going to cut in slightly here, and I don't realise how fast I'm going. If you see how quickly this is building up speed, it's going to redline pretty soon here, and I'm going to get the pop-up to reduce my speed. So level it out a little bit so it's not gaining too much, and I should be fine. It's the only way to really catch an F in the dive. So I'm going to lead a little bit here, and I don't get many good hits. Like, it does take a while to knock this guy out, even though I'm connecting. But either way, get that one last burst in and rip him apart. So immediately change targets to the 88, new Italian heavy fighter. Not a good plane. Very big, very bulky, and very weak control surfaces. So he goes into, that's number 3. So I think here, there's lots of bombers left at a low altitude, but I don't need to take those out. The fighters on our altitude can take them out easy. So there's the 109 up high, and that's going to be my target. That's the one I'm going to need to take out, because at lower tier, God bless them, but you can't really rely on your teammates most of the time. You know, they're new players, they're going to be going after easy kills, and you know, you're going to have to put a bit more effort in, I think. So I'm just going to maintain, get away from him, and just build up a little bit of speed, and get some altitude back slowly. I think I consider going for some bombers here and hoping that fighters can take him out, but it's better to turn back. I'm just looking at his stats to see how much he plays the plane, to see how I can approach it. And there's a lot of sort of misrepresentation of people checking stats in games, I think, because I don't do it to think, oh, that person's awful, you know, or to show people that they're not a good player. I do it to judge how I can engage a situation. Like, if I look at the stats of a plane and I see that the player is really good in that plane, I'm going to approach it differently and fight it differently. If I know that they're not experienced, I can take some risks and maybe play it a bit more lax. So that's why I'm doing it. I'm not doing it to shame him or whatever, because, you know, that's not nice and it's not really fair. So I'm going to approach him subtly. I'm not going to go full climb or full dive. I'm going to maintain my speed just enough. And I'm going to hopefully go for a head-on, just jittering my crosshair there to see if I can spot him in the clouds, but can't. I run on a 4K monitor, and it's very, very difficult to spot dots in War Thunder for some reason. Hope it gets fixed, but you know, not many people run it, so it's not a high priority. So I'm just trying to predict where he's going to pop out here, and hopefully surprise him. But the clouds are quite thin, so it's going to be quite likely that he's going to pop in and out, and I'm going to see him and not have much time to react. So I'm preparing for a head-on, in this sense. I know I've got the firepower, I've got the cannon ammo left, I've got the 50 cals, and I think I can pretty reliably knock him out. So I think at this point he does notice me, and he starts coming back down for the engagement. So I'm going to wait and go up just when he can't pull out, fire that burst off, take a light hit, but I knock his engine off, and he's dead here. Sadly I missed that. That would have been quite cool, but either way, he knows his engine's dead, and he bails out and gives me the kill. So at this point I'm going to look for the last aircraft on the enemy team, and it's quite a while, so I'm going to cut to a view of the hangar here and show you a little bit more about this plane. And this is actually the first time I tried recording it. I got rammed, so I thought I'd go over to the hangar and show you the camouflages. So this is the standard one, the quadricolor one. I think it's the same one that one of the IL-2s gets as a unlockable. And you get your standard winter, which isn't unique, isn't very interesting. And you get the Finnish Air Force camo, which is really nice and very unique as well. And you can just see the layout of the 30 cals in the nose there on either side of the engine. And you can see the standard 8mm armoured plate behind the pilot. Interesting enough though, this aircraft doesn't have any survivability mods. It doesn't get airframe, it doesn't get cover. And I'm not sure if that was because it was added so early on that, that's before they were put into the game's options, or they just forgot about it. But either way, it's not an aircraft that you're going to see a lot, and it doesn't have much priority, so I understand why it's not fixed. But either way, let's go back to the battle. Now the last one is a Condor on the runway, and he knows what he's doing. He's not going to take off while I'm close. So I'm just going to mill around a bit and waste some time and just pull some stall maneuvers. That's what I do when I'm a bit bored. So the AA is very deadly, especially to low-level aircraft that aren't that quick. So I can't spot him right now, so I'm pretty sure he can't spot me either. So I'm just going to wait for him to get just far enough away from the runway that I can knock him out. I don't have much ammo left. I've only got about 12 rounds of cannon ammunition, 60-50s, and a little bit of a 30 cal. And that's not enough to take down a bomber, so I know I've only really got one good hit at taking this guy out. And I don't want him to hide near the runway for the whole game, so I'm probably going to take a risk and shoot him as quick as I can when he's just far enough away. So I'm going to roll in here and give it a shot. Now, as soon as he pops up, I think he notices me. So I'm going to go right down and build up a lot of speed, just so I can make that clean boom and zoom hit and run, and I can get out as quick as I can. I'm hoping that I can get some hits on before he notices me here, but he does start turning back. So what I'm going to do is I see him in the turn, and I know that if I shoot his engine 1 or engine 2, the drag is going to cause him to fall right in right here, because he's got so little speed in the turn. Making that drag surface is going to pull him right down to the ground, and that's the ace. Now, it's my job to get as far away from the airfield as possible without losing my plane. So I'm going to do some jinking maneuvers here. Hopefully it works. Doesn't always. But either way, that's the LaGG-3-4, the rarest aircraft in War Thunder. Very capable, but not the best, not the worst. It does its job. So, ace game, pretty decent turnout I suppose, nice lot of RP, nice amount of lions, all good. And now, this here is a fun little thing I've wanted to do, mainly to keep me going back to the game and making these reviews for people. So I'm going to group all the units into sets like this. So the LaGG fighters is the example I'm using here for this first video. So all of these squares are going to be filled with all the aircraft for that series eventually over time. And the key there is representative of what I'm going to rate the fighter, or bomber, tank, anything. So as you can see there, 10 out of 10 is orange, 1 out of 10 is white, and it goes down that key. And the outline of the box is going to change based on what I give it, so you can look back and see what I've rated the aircraft. So, final thoughts, I guess, on this aircraft is that it's fun, it's a good little plane. It does its job well, it's really suitable for hunting bombers and keeping at medium altitude and diving down on those unsuspecting planes and hitting them with that really high burst mass. And you've got the reliability of the extra guns as well to help you out if you run out of ammo with your main armament, or if you want to hit something like a biplane that doesn't require a lot of burst mass on target to knock the wings off. So the negatives would probably be that it's very, very sluggish at low altitude. If someone pounces on you, and you're in a level flight, you're not going to be able to take them out. Like, a lot of aircraft that you're going to see are a lot faster than this plane, and they can turn a lot better. And something like the Key 61 or the 202 EC, something like that, you can't counter whatsoever, and that's why I think it's not the best fighter that you could possibly take. Just because there are some things that completely outclass it. You might have a lot more guns, but if they know what they're doing, there's nothing you can do. And that's why I think it's safe to rate this aircraft as a 6 out of 10. Now, bad news for it is, from talking to someone quite high up in Gaijin, quite reliably, is that this aircraft is likely never going to be available again. But I think there might be some ways you could get it. And what I mean by that is maybe do something impressive, you know? Spade everything in the game, get a crazy high amount of kills, or just, you know, go on the forum, help people out, just be pleasant, be nice, you know, have a good time with the game and do something great, do something really, you know, impressive. And you never know who might be watching. And you might wake up one day and find this in your hangar too. So I guess that's the final thoughts on the LaGG-3-4. Thank you very much for watching. This has been more of a test bed for the format I'm going to go with in the future. If you like it, let me know what you did like and what you think I can improve on, because I'm aware that I'm not very good at talking, I'm not very confident, and you know, I'm very new and very green to this whole thing. So if there's anything you think I can improve in terms of the production quality, or how I go about making these, or what I talk about, or if there's anything you want to see, please write it down, give me a comment, let me know, because I want to make these for you as much as I want to make them for me. You know, it's something nice to do in the day to keep me occupied, and I can put all of the knowledge I have on the game into something that I'm proud of. And if other people enjoy it, then that's fantastic, and that's all I want to do. So let me know what you liked, let me know what you didn't like, and thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoy. And I will see you next time. Goodbye.